Here at Wentworth Woodhouse, we're quite familiar with some of the male figures that inhabit the history of the house. Thomas, 1st Earl of Strafford, who lost his head in 1641. Thomas Watson-Wentworth, 1st Marquess of Rockingham, responsible for building the west front and starting on the east. His son, Charles Watson-Wentworth, 2nd Marquess of Rockingham, who completed the house and was twice Prime Minister of Great Britain. But the ladies of Wentworth Woodhouse remain little-known figures sitting quietly in the shadows of the past. One of these is Mary Watson-Wentworth, 2nd Marchioness of Rockingham, and the more we explore her life, the more interesting she becomes. Baptised Mary Bright on the 27th of August 1735, she was the only daughter of Thomas Bright of the now demolished Badsworth Hall, just south of Pontefract, Wakefield. Nothing is known about her early life other than her marriage at the tender age of 17 to the dashing Charles, Marquis of Rockingham, then becoming the 2nd Marchioness of Rockingham, or, less formally, Lady Rockingham. One might speculate that Charles chose her because she brought an inheritance of £60,000 and large estates into the marriage. But perhaps Charles, not exactly lacking in money and land himself, married her for less mercenary reasons. A marriage that lasted for 30 years, it appears to have been a close, affectionate relationship, so it may well have been an actual love match. Still in existence are roughly 200 letters of Mary's to Rockingham held at Sheffield Archives, which give us a window into her thoughts, feelings and doings. Written when he was often away in London or at the horse races, they express again and again a deep affection for Charles.
My dearest life, I have just been to gather a peach or two. I depend upon your making me, for the future, a sharer of every event that gives you pleasure or God grants that I may always have your affections. Mine, you know you have. And I am as certain that I have yours. Indulge me in telling me so. It makes me vastly happy. My dear soul, I must bid you adieu. 'Tis almost like parting with how much I long to see you. I am ever yours. 1,000 kind affections wait upon you from your truly faithful and affectionate M.R.
For a young bride being propelled into her new duties in the management of a household of the size of Wentworth House, as it was then called, could be quite challenging.
She was only 17 and he's 21, with almost 100 indoor servants divided between the house in London and the house in Yorkshire, and unwieldy expenses to oversee. The Rockinghams relied on the honesty and diligence of their housekeepers and stewards. By 1772, that trust had completely broken down. A large volume of Wentworth accounts, kept between 1769 and 1775, records spiralling consumption and costs at the house. Mary was obliged to be a key player, ensuring work on the estate was properly logged and accounted for. With some reluctance, she hated sacking people. She agreed to the replacement of key staff in the supply chain who had had too many opportunities to divert supplies to their own pockets. This culminated with the removal of the housekeeper, Mrs. Broughton, the main obstacle to reform.
Mary's letters also express her fears for Charles's health. Frail even as a child, which had been of great concern to his parents, he was frequently ill throughout his life. Mary repeatedly urges him to take care of himself.
Dearest, if you would determine not to let your physicians try any more experiments upon you, but keep entirely to rhubarb. For heaven's sake, avoid horrid cards above all other things. Mentioning the feeling thin has put me in 1,000 I don't like your being only tolerably well. I would have you quite well. How I distrust emetics and all those sort of things. I can't express to you what I suffer when I know of you going through these horrid trials. If a tyrant is necessary to guard and keep you in order, have the courage to send for me.
Rockingham receipts, or vouchers, include long lists of medicines ordered from the apothecary, aside from rhubarb and other medicinals that Mary administered not only to her husband, but to staff and servants too. A rather alarming one is Raleigh's cordial, concocted roughly 150 years earlier by Sir Walter Raleigh. The ingredients include some very dubious ones, such as ground deer horn, antimony, liquid gold, viper heart and liver, Questionable as to whether this strange remedy helped Lord Rockingham or anybody else, people still believed in it in the 18th century. Apart from worrying about illness and household management, it is often imagined that 18th century ladies occupied their leisure time with constant embroidery projects, while the men were busy discussing affairs of business and state in their drawing rooms and clubs. While this may have been true for many, and Mary too somehow found time for needlework, she and other women were also actively involved in politics. Rockingham relied heavily on Mary's assistance with his work as a politician.
She was a keen observer of the political attitudes of the day and often referred to herself as his secretary.
I have the satisfaction to tell you that I have executed all your orders with great alacrity.
She had her own correspondence with that brilliant statesman and philosopher, Edmund Burke. She was also active in other parliamentary affairs. One in particular was when she mustered friends in defence of Admiral Keppel during his court-martial, which Rockingham celebrated with Keppel's column, still standing today.
Rockingham was so appreciative of Mary's assistance in his work that he dubbed her "my Minerva at my elbow," after the Roman goddess of wisdom and learning. But Mary did have some time off when she would visit and take tea with her friends. They drank a lot of green tea. Trips to London, where the Rockinghams had a house at 4 Grosvenor Square and another large property at Wimbledon. She enjoyed balls and court occasions, wearing wonderful dresses such as the Rockingham Mantua, now at Kensington Palace. She was very musical, played the harpsichord, she had 4, and was considered to have a lovely singing voice. Charles, in another of his letters, tells her that Queen Charlotte has whispered that she intends to hear her sing. She was also an enthusiastic gardener. Horticulture was a passion for both the second Marquess and his father before him, who had been extremely proud of his pineapple growing. Exotic plants from all over were collected and studied at both Wentworth Woodhouse and Wimbledon. Mary shared this interest, but didn't allow herself to take it on as a serious pursuit until after losing Charles in 1782 to influenza. She mourned him deeply and never remarried. Buying Hillingdon House near London in 1785, she had the plant collection carefully moved there, and here her horticultural interest, bloomed. She had a long friendship and correspondence with botanist Sir James Edward Smith, who founded the Linnaean Society in 1788, and whose illustrator, James Sowerby, drew some of her plants.
I cannot but hope that you will take a look at Wentworth as you pass by, and if so, do observe what amaryllises there are there, and Henderson will tell you about the arrival of the Euphorbia Warlania and all about it.
Another friend was Sir Joseph Banks, key to the development of Kew Gardens into what it is today. Mary collected and studied plants brought from the far corners of the British Empire, such as Botany Bay and Sierra Leone. And today's academics are now appreciating the serious contribution she made to botany and horticulture. Mary, 2nd Marchioness of Rockingham, died at Hillingdon in 1804, having lived a full and loving life. Like other ladies of Wentworth Woodhouse, she was much more than a footnote to her husband's story, and deserves to be remembered as a woman of historical relevance in her own right.